Good morning. I heard the icebreaker yesterday was a fantastic event, so some may be a little bit struggling this morning, but glad to see a great turnout. I'm Captain Jeremy Adams. I'm the Executive Officer for Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command Southeast. On behalf of our Commanding Officer, Captain Miguel Dieguez, who couldn't be here today, unfortunately, welcome. We've got a tremendous turnout, which is outstanding. Have over 500 attendees, which is fantastic and indicative of our partnership in defense of our nation. I'm going to just ask a quick kind of participation of the audience. If you could raise your hand if you're a part of an AE firm. Okay. Raise your hand if you're part of a construction firm. All right. And raise your hand if you're a boss, a services firm. And if you're one of the exhibitors today, raise your hand. A couple folks in the back. So collectively, it's to you, our industry partners, NAVFAC and the Navy could not execute our mission without you. I just want to say thank you up front. I have 3 items as part of today's introduction. First, let me remark on why we are here. The foundation of an uptick in infrastructure and facility investment in urgency. Last October, our national security strategy and national defense strategy laid out clearly our priorities. Outcompete China and constrain Russia. With our current messy state, President Biden has coined that we are in a decisive decade, married in a dynamic landscape, notably economic turmoil, geopolitical instability, environmental changes, and rapid technology advances. Our defense strategy's 4 priorities square in on and emphasize the need to strengthen our integrated deterrence and build a resilient joint force and defense ecosystem, including you, our industry partners. To put it bluntly, we are losing our competitive edge, and China is our pacing challenge. People's Liberation Army Navy now has more ships than the U.S. China's Belt Road Initiative continues to have impact across the globe, and their military infrastructure is expanding at an impressive rate, all challenging the rules-based international order we Americans have embraced since the end of World War II. So, our Navy must compete on a level never seen before, and we must rise to the occasion and deliver. Lastly, some of you may have watched 60 Minutes this past Sunday. I just want to highlight a comment from our commander of U.S. Pacific Fleet, Admiral Paparo, when asked this question. So the interviewer asked, "Is it your hope that the power of the U.S. Navy, the force posture of the U.S. Navy, will deter a Chinese invasion of Taiwan?" Admiral Paparo responded, "It's not my hope, it's my duty. In conjunction with allies and partners to deliver intolerable costs to anybody that would upend the order in violation of the nation's security or in violation of the nation's interests." That sums it up pretty clearly there, that deterrence is the key as we move forward. Second, NAVFAC recognized we need to alter our course, our strategic approach to effectively enable fleet readiness and Marine Corps force generation and achieve the strategic ends as indicated in our national defense strategy. To meet these ends, NAVFAC released a strategic plan this past August with 3 priorities: accelerate execution performance, execute SysCom authorities to enable fleet readiness and lethality, strengthen, enhance, and accelerate learning and performance. These 3 priorities are interdependent, and hence today our objective is to accelerating our performance, as you see above. We, NAVFAC at Southeast, are embracing the mindset that to be successful in achieving national defense strategy objectives on infrastructure and facilities, we need a strong, collaborative government and industry team that values continuous learning from each other. In order to harness in this learning mindset, venues such as today are at the forefront and are extremely valuable. Our intent today is to learn more about our respective challenges and move toward mutually improving performance. In FY22, NAVFAC Southeast volume of business was $2.7 billion with $1.7 billion in contract awards. 40% was done to small businesses. Small businesses, please raise your hand. Wow, impressive, thank you. This year we expect to eclipse $2 billion in contract awards, and the upward trend is predicted to continue in the out years. Tied to the DoD's priority to bolster deterrence, facility investment opportunities abound within our AOR from the East Coast Nuclear Defense Deterrence Corridor, from Charleston, where we have our power school, Kings Bay, obviously submarine base, and then down in Cape Canaveral, we have an ordnance test unit. Approximately $3 billion in investment that's going to happen in the next 7 years. You'll hear more about this later today. But also our installations to the west, providing the heart of naval aviation training as the launching point to the fleet. You may have heard Admiral Paparo say in the 60 Minutes episode, you know, aircraft carrier is the most lethal ship the U.S. has, and that's out across the globe day to day, providing FONOPS, freedom of navigation operations, amongst other missions. Take a look at our workload projections located on our public website under contract opportunities, or use the QR code you see in the program today. Lastly, we have a great day planned. Our program is geared smaller engagements with focused tracks, with contracting, planning, design, and construction, public works, environmental, small business, chief information office, small business liaison office, real estate, and operations. In the Grand Lobby, you may engage with some local partners and NAVFAC Southeast staff. If you purchased a lunch, it'll happen to my left in one of the larger rooms. They'll be provided from 1200 to 1330 at your convenience. The culmination of today's event will be at 1400 in the Grand Banquet Hall here. With a warfighter perspective, we're excited to have one of our main customers, Rear Admiral Buchanan, the commander of Submarine Group 10. This will be followed by a NAVFAC Southeast execution plan, nuclear deterrence program, provided by our operations officer, Commander Mike McCain. This will round out our triad of sorts, providing the heart to success with an integrated team of industry partners, NAVFAC, and our warfighters. So today, I ask, let's communicate, engage, listen, and improve execution speed. To break the ice, our contracting, public works, planning, design, and construction, and environmental leaders will provide some opening thoughts to get our minds thinking. To start, please welcome NAVFAC Southeast Chief Contracting Officer, Ms. Renee Comfort.
I'm Renee Comfort. I'm the Chief of Contracts. I've been with NAVFAC Southeast for a number of years, on and off. I've also been with Atlantic headquarters and near AFCENT. So there's a number of people here that I know and see, and it's good to see you again. And those that I don't know and haven't met, I definitely would like to meet you today, if possible. What I'd like to begin with is I'd like to have, excuse me, all my contracting officers, contract specialists, and interns that are here today stand up, please. Look around the room. The reason why I'm asking this is this is a session for networking. These are the folks that you want to meet, greet, and build relationships with. Those from Mayport, or I'm sorry, from Mayport. Would you raise your hand so we know where you're from? Thank you. Kings Bay, back in the back. Thank you. Jacksonville is not represented here. However, we have Samantha Shelton, who is an expert at Jacksonville. Sam, are you in the room? There's Sam. There's Sam. Okay. And let's see, who else? The FEC. Please raise your hand if you're from the FEC itself. Okay. Thank you very much. You can sit down. Thank you. Again, I encourage you all to get to know these people. These are the people that you're going to be working with, people that can help you, and you can help them. As Captain Adams mentioned, there are exciting times requiring serious focus on the goal of deterrence. Our challenge is to improve our project delivery to the warfighter. We're working hard to understand industry's challenges and how we can help move that needle to ensure timely and successful contract completion. We all see the opportunities for improvement from our vantage point, and I hope that those opportunities that you see will be shared with us today. Your thoughts do matter. Opportunities don't happen, you create them. We are determined to become more agile, improving our speed of decisions and then our speed of execution. To that end, some opportunities for improvement include escalation ladders, speeding up decisions that often linger, more focused team meetings, and knowing when and where there may be a slip. And let's know that before the slip occurs. We've all been delayed on both the contractor side and the government side. There are times where proposals are stalled. Modifications are delivered for no good reason, untimely. Requests for equitable adjustments and other decisions come late or not at all. We want to deliberately find those cases and expedite decisions. Identifying and resolving those delays moves critical projects and provides the warfighter with what they need to complete the mission for our warfighters. We have experienced challenges that we are correcting and overcoming each day, paying invoices on time. Communications and CPARs are at the forefront of our focus improvements. We are focused on collaborative improvements. Next slide, please. Oh, wrong slide. Next. Go back one. Okay. I wanted to provide you with the points of contact of my division directors. My division directors often see things across the AOR regarding contracting. So these are people that you want to know, be aware of, and talk to today specifically. The first one is Nicole Wilhelm. Would you just stand up a little bit? Nicole Wilhelm is my people in process. So when there are processes that are broke, she is there to help expedite figuring out what that broken process is and resolving it for the entire AOR. The next is Sam Shelton. Oh, there she is. Sam is my intern coordinator, and she is also coming from the Jacksonville PWD, so she's very knowledgeable on both things. We have an intern group of approximately 17 now, and we hope to build that to 40 by the end of this fiscal year. So she'll be very busy with that, but you will see improvement in our vacancy rates that we have today. Gary Murphy is my construction division director. You've probably talked to him, seen him, or seen him on an email. Thank you, Gary. Andy Mann is my AE, Environmental and Contingency Contract Division Director. And Becky Jones. Becky is our Services Contract Division Director. So regarding the sessions that we have had, we have 3 sessions today. So regarding those, I've chosen those 3 topics for breakout sessions because these are the items that are high on our minds at this time. Innovative contracting, economic price adjustments, and increasing competition, and CPARs are the 3 that we have. First, you'll have the opportunity to hear from Gary Murphy regarding economic price adjustments and contracts. Supply chain and economic issues today make it important that our scopes of work deliberately consider the potential of significant shifts in material pricing throughout the life of the contract. That includes factors such as the length of performance, market volatility, and the risks we are placing on our contractor partners. These advanced decisions will ultimately result in a timely contract completion, in my opinion. So think about, will an economic price adjustment increase competition, reduce risk, or is it merely just another wicket to jump through when you're developing your proposal? How do we, or how should we, request a baseline for materials in order to exercise the clause? And how does it really impact the contractor? Those are the things that we would like to hear today during Gary's presentation later this morning. The second session will be Contractor Performance Assessment Rating Reporting, CPARs. This session will be led by Andy Mann. Evaluating contractors is a very important part of our contract administration. Andy will share with you the regulations and guidance that the contract team must follow when preparing the CPARs. NAVFAC understands the importance of the CPARs rating to our contractor partners. CPARs are for source selection and selecting the best contractor for the project. If you think about it, CPARs is an integral part of our kill chain for supporting the warfighter. Good, honest CPARs will enable award of our projects to the best contractor, resulting in on-time, on-budget delivery. We've worked hard to complete our backlog of late CPARs, first by identifying that backlog. Next, we are tracking those CPARs coming due to meet or beat the 120-day requirement. And finally, we are focused on the narratives that are in the CPARs to ensure that they are accurate. We now require significant reviews and have provided guidance to our contracting team to ensure that good communications happen throughout the project so that CPARs are never a surprise to you. I want our contractors to be successful, and I recognize that the CPARs is a part of a contractor receiving the next project or being selected in the next best value. Contractors need to have a pulse at all times of how the government believes they are performing. Good team communications is a must. So think about, how are we doing? How are you doing in communicating? Are you seeing improvements? Is information status meetings of quality? Are you getting what you need from those? And what can we do better? We want to inspire excellence in our entire project team. We want to meet the warfighter's needs. We want to beat China, and we can do that by choosing the best contractors to complete our projects. The third session is in regards to increasing competition. It is always our desire that contractors want to work for us. Stephen Sparks and Becky Jones will present that session. Stephen and Becky will highlight NAVFAC Southeast small business goals and current achievements, as well as upcoming opportunities and procurement methods. This industry day is just one of many outreach opportunities that Southeast engages in and provides this information, and we hope that it's value added to you. As a note, it is imperative that our contractor partners desiring to do business with us know we need you to respond to market research. Our market research gives us a window into the contractors that can perform the work, are interested in the work, are small business, hub zone, disadvantaged businesses, women-owned, veteran-owned, etc. So please respond to market research. Tell us what you think. Is market research actually addressing the project and providing you with an opportunity to respond and compete? Let the contracting officer and officers know. Can we do market research better? Is there a better way, as we're describing, what we're looking for? That session will be informative, but I am most hoping that we will harvest some great comments and suggestions from you all. I hope that these three sessions add value to the investment of your time and money that you've expended to come here today, and I hope that I have a chance to talk to you one-on-one. I'll leave you with this thought. Champions keep playing until they get it right. We can continue to work towards innovation and improvement together. Next slide. We want you. So thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Luke Guthrie, who is NAVFAC Southeast Design Construction Director.
I'm Luke Guthrie, Design Construction Director. But as you see, we are going to change and reorganize some to get after some things, like Renee said, accelerate execution. We're going to link planning more closely with design and construction. So this is going to be our new organization. We're kind of announcing it. IOC is actually 31 March, but I want to let you know who is the leaders of our team. And I say our team because everything we do requires your support. We don't succeed without our contracting partners. So, Shay, are you, some of them may not be in the room right now, I know Shay is. Stand up in the back. She's gonna be the head, acting head of planning, of project management, program management, and cost, schedule, and risk. Thank you, Shay. Lori, she's going to be the head of our business and resources, and also double tapped as acquisition readiness. Whoops, sorry. Thank you. Acquisition readiness. Eric. Okay, Eric's out in the thing. You probably saw him on the way in. He was helping with the badges. He's the head of planning. We got Bub Lenore. Bub is the design and engineering director. So excited to have him. Tom Tron may not be here either. Oh yeah, he is, because he has the first session after the, he's our construction director. So I've already had probably 5 people ask for Tom this morning. And then Tony DeSantos. He's our fire protection chief or technical discipline coordinator. So he has a very interesting session, I think, and very important getting after fire protection quality control. Hope to see a lot of you all in that one. So that's just some of the team leads, but how many planners do we have here today? We have some other planners, construction managers. I know I've seen some construction managers on the team. Any of our designers with us from Southeast? Stand up, raise your hand. Any other planning, design, or construction, Southeast people? All right. Some of them are out in the hall, but I know we have some. Karen's here today, and I've seen several others. I've seen some project managers and some design managers, but some of them will be at the tables or not. Okay, just want to make sure you all knew who our team was. The next slide, please. These are the planning, design, and construction sessions that we'll be having. Tom and Karen will lead up. We'll start off with ECMS, our construction management system that we're talking about. Next, Shay will be talking about the ECI, early contract involvement. That's an important session, I think, to tell you what we're doing and also to get feedback from you all on what you all have done in the past and seen done, maybe not even with the Navy or the Army, but other places also. Then Tom will be back again with fast start. I used to call kind of not just fast start, but fast start, finish strong. You know, it's the whole thing. We do a lot of focus on the red zone. Who's heard about the red zone for construction? Yeah, we have a lot of processes on that. A little bit more emphasis on, hey, starting right. You know, because when we start slow, we get off to the wrong step, that affects the whole project. And then Tony will be talking about fire protection. And then at the end, you know, from 4:10 to 4:30, we'll have just a general session. Well, I'll be there, and hopefully most of our team will be there for just general questions to wrap up the day for PDC. Next speaker will be, where's Danny? Danny Villafane from Public Works. Thank you.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Danny Villafane. I've been in NAVFAC for about 20 years. Super excited to be here and glad to see some familiar faces. So today, you know, in Public Works, what do? We keep the base running. So with that, can we go to the next slide? So I just want to provide, I cannot bring the entire team because then we're going to get in trouble here. But so today, you know, so basically the key takeaway, what do? You know, supply chain management, make sure the shops are fully operational. We do facility support contracts, utilities, energy, transportation, and and facilities management, like I said, with the in-house shops. So today, what I want to focus on is facility support contracts. So we're going to have a roundtable discussion. We're going to have some topics related to preventive maintenance, IMP, integrated preventive maintenance, and inventories. And you know, the spirit of getting real and getting better. I want to seek your input. And there's some ideas and techniques on how do you do it out in the private sector to ensure that we help help you help us and extract that knowledge and ideas in order for us to get better when we put solicitations out. So our session will be in room 1088, and it will go from 12:30 to 1:30. And next slide. So now I will introduce my counterpart, Mary Oxendine, and she's the head of environmental for NAVFAC Southeast and Navy Region Southeast.
Good morning. As Danny said, I am Mary Oxendine. I am the Environmental Division Director here at NAVFAC Southeast, as well as the Environmental Program Director for Navy Region Southeast, a dual-hatted role. I almost want to say, you know, kind of save the best for last, right? But I think one of the things that people don't necessarily consider with the environmental program in the Navy, especially at NAVFAC, is we touch everything. We touch the whole facility's life cycle. So whether it's planning at the beginning through NEPA, permitting and compliance during the operation of a source, the public works aspects, or if it's cleaning up the mess we left at the end of the day, environmental's there the whole time. So one of the things that we're here to do, we're here to enable the mission, but we want to do it in a manner that's very cooperative and taking care of the resources that we have, air, water, land, and making sure that as we do that, we're still enabling the mission, allowing our sailors to train as they would fight. And we all know that that's going to be very critical here in the future. Our program is required by law. But in that, while we have to comply with the law, we also have to build relationships. So when the time comes that we can work with our regulators, work with our other partners to say, this is our mission and this is why it's important, we have those relationships to work on where we can maybe do things a little differently that meet the intent of the law, but really help us to enable that mission. So with that aspect, what we do is compliance. And on my vein is that in compliance, we're going to enable the mission and we're going to accelerate our execution. And there's a lot of pieces that go with that. We have programs that not only are we a support to the business lines of PDC and Public Works, but we also deliver our own products and services that ensure that the installations are meeting those compliance requirements. So we have a broad range of what we do, and those programs are growing. PFAS is right now the biggest one. The other thing we're going to be faced with is resiliency, and how does environmental play in that? And in order to be successful in doing that and meeting those requirements, we have to have contract tools that we can best support the field. We have a lot of different tools that we use here in NAVFAC Southeast. Thanks to Andy Mann and his team, we've gotten innovative over the years to open opportunities more to our small businesses to help us not only in our environmental restoration program, but also our environmental compliance program. And we're also very big on public outreach, as I said, working with those regulators and building the other relationships with other agencies, organizations. And a key piece of that outreach and that engagement is working with you, our contractors, because we certainly can't do what we need to do without your support and your assistance and your technical expertise. So today, the sessions that we have planned are going to be focused on PFAS, as I mentioned, one of our bigger areas. Hopefully address some of the things we know are going on within the environmental restoration world, the Safe Drinking Water Act world, and the waste disposal, hazardous waste, whether or not it's going to be of AFFF. We're going to talk a little bit about our growing area and our petroleum storage tanks. We're taking a lot more work that's related not only to testing and inspections, but also some repair and maintenance and tank replacements. And then lastly, another big area that I think has gotten a lot of visibility from the issues at Red Hill out in Hawaii is our emergency response program. How do we not only respond to emergencies, but how do we plan? How do we exercise those capabilities? And we'll have John Baxter, my Region Environmental Coordinator, and N40 will be talking in depth about his program and how we're growing that program internally to NAVFAC Southeast and Navy Region Southeast. Next slide. So I just want to introduce the team that I have here with me today. They'll be manning our booth as well as talking about some of our sessions. Bob Fisher, who's my environmental restoration branch head, couldn't be here today. He's sick, so he has a few folks here with him. So if you want to stand up. So I had Chad Tripp. He is one of our restoration section heads. Shannon Provenzano, who's one of our restoration remedial program managers, and Montserrat Gonzalez, who just joined us. She's one of our interns, and hopefully she'll learn a lot from this experience today. Also with me on the compliance side to talk about our petroleum program, Tammy Singletary. Yeah, there she is. So Tammy's here. She's one of our senior environmental engineers that works in our petroleum section. Along with her is Mr. Wayne Woodrum. He is our petroleum section head. He is not in the room right now, called to something else, but certainly Tammy and Wayne will be talking about where those opportunities are in that program that's growing as well. And then lastly, as I mentioned, Mr. John Baxter, our regional environmental coordinator, N40 Navy on-scene coordinator representative, and he'll be having a great discussion this afternoon on his on-scene coordinator program. And thank you very much, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of the day.
It is my distinct pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Rear Admiral Thomas R. Buchanan, Commander, Submarine Group 10. He has 31 years of naval service, including commanding Submarine Squadron 20 in U.S. Alabama, SSN 753. He has staff assignments, including an impressive combination of joint and operational duties. His perspective will shed some light on the connective tissue between the warfighter lethality, our nation's security and defense strategies, priorities, and us, the Shore Enterprise team. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Rear Admiral Buchanan.
Well, it's absolutely great to be with all of you today, and as folks sort of either come in after lunch or leave, I'm happy to take all questions at the end of this. But the opportunity to be with you is really important, and we're at a really critical stage, and I think Jeremy talked about it a little bit this morning. I'll talk about it a little bit in my remarks as well. Of course, the kind introduction was certainly better than I deserve. I'm excited to be here with you today. You know, spring is in the air. Of course, in Florida, you don't know whether that's going to be 3 weeks, 3 days, or 3 hours. But I really am. I'm glad to be out of my office and come down and just engage with you and on what I think is a common framework on how we need to approach the coming days, weeks, months, years, particularly in the Navy and our partnerships with folks that are building our shore infrastructure and helping us modernize our forces. First and foremost, I want to express my appreciation for those that work hard to bring a gathering like this together. It is not lost on me on just how hard and how challenging it is to kind of coordinate and collaborate and bring people in the same room, particularly in the wake of COVID and all the things that we're kind of still coming through. Of course, most people are aware, and I'm certainly aware that we didn't see COVID in Florida, but having spent the majority of my time at the Naval Academy, where COVID was very much present, I do look with jealousy, if you will, on how you were able to maintain some things that were open. So, and the other thing I'm really appreciative of is the opportunity to illuminate how we might bring together some additional support to our Navy. It might be worth spending some time today in the near future to identify where our opportunities and interests intersect. And I'd like to first start with a question, and Jeremy may have asked this, but I didn't get the results of the survey. How many saw the 60 Minutes piece this weekend? Okay, so about half. I'm going to expand on it just a bit. Nora did, I think, a pretty balanced job on, and the CBS News team did a balanced job on reporting out where we are challenged, where we're struggling, where the U.S. Navy is headed, and how we really are in a decisive decade. And for those that saw it, fantastic. It's really easy to find. Go to YouTube, just search there, 27 minutes. It's not a flowery piece. Talks about shipbuilding concerns, so whether or not we have sufficient funding for the future force, the build rates of submarine ships and the like, and then keeping up with the pacing threat that is in the Western Pacific. broken down really in two segments. The first was Admiral Paparo, Pac Fleet Commander on board Nimitz, reporting out and explaining to Nora O'Donnell the challenges and the central vexing problem about the Chinese Navy's threatening tactics and presence there. Of course, that's their backyard, but we want to be there too. Then a DC-focused section where CBS News engages Chief of Naval Operations Gilday and former Representative Elaine Luria and current Representative Mike Gallagher, who states effectively the grand strategy vis-a-vis China is that hard power is the most important part of our strategy, and that the Navy would be first and foremost that component contributing to that hard power investment. Unfortunately, the pace that we are building ship is not what we need to be to keep pace with our primary pacing challenge. The entire episode shows the Navy preparing for war as it illuminates these challenges, but highlighting the pride and professionalism we have in our force and demonstrating why we are truly amidst a decisive decade. Our nation and the Navy needs us to outcompete our competitors. You're part of that solution. It is clear China is moving out in a big way. Lots of shipbuilding, by sheer numbers alone, a formidable Navy, the largest in the world, some 350 vessels, looking to increase that over the coming years to over 400 vessels, and President Xi Jinping showing his support for the Russian way of war here recently with his visit that just concluded in Russia. This Russia invasion of Ukraine, and these are dangerous times. The Chinese operating patterns present us with some operational dilemmas that give us some pause, and we need to continue to operate in all areas of the globe where we will freely navigate on the sea, under the sea, and above the sea in accordance with international law. And as Admiral Paparo said, it's our right and it's our duty, and it most definitely assures our allies and partners. I recently got done with an engagement with the Republic of Korea personnel about strategic deterrence, and that relationship is equal and important to us as well. That being stated, how can this body of professionals help? I'm privileged to work with some of the finest and most dedicated people you could ever imagine. Hopefully you have some similar experiences. They sacrifice their time and talent to keep our strategic deterrent force ready and able to carry out a serious mission. We do things for the nation that are taken for granted and critically important in support of our nation's security. From the sailors that serve on our submarines, to the Marines that guard our most critical assets, to the civilians that repair and maintain our ships and submarines, to the contractors that build and maintain our infrastructure. This is by no means all that we do, but maybe, just maybe, you can join them. Our collective ability to build the infrastructure and facilities required to both modernize and enable fleet readiness and lethality is absolutely at center stage. An integral part of meeting our challenge is a strong, collaborative government and industry team aligned to continually learn from each other and accelerate execution performance. Events like this one provide a useful forum and platform for open dialogue to share both information, ideas, and innovations. And given the scale and complexity of the facility investments being made in support of my particular missionary, strategic deterrent, and all of our infrastructure needs across the wide variety of naval needs, especially in this region, I know how important it is to get it right. We need the whole team ready and engaged. And as the Navy is deployed to keep the sea lines of communications open, these are the seas we sail upon. The first sea, competence. To borrow from like my boss's boss's boss, Admiral Frank Caldwell, Director of Naval Reactors, whom I recently listened to as he was addressing a number of corporate partners who contribute to our Navy's submarine industrial base, he explains competence this way. It's about technical excellence. The Navy team and that's really he, associates with and I associate with, endlessly pursues a more thorough understanding of our work. We are failure intolerant where necessary and accept calculated risk where practical. We provide unrivaled performance for the Navy, and in our business, details matter, and first-time quality is essential. We have learned that small improvements or degradation make long-term differences, both in physical construction and in risk management. This is competence. The second C, culture. Enabling competence is really culture that surrounds us, where people, not organizations, get things done. We can absolutely influence the environment in which our teammates thrive. Sometimes we must remove barriers, maybe some shrinking requirements, identify requirements that just need to go away, remove friction. Maybe we have to listen more and open our minds to a little bit of a change of perspective. A positive culture can overcome a tremendous amount of institutional resistance, characterized by values such as respect, collaboration, transparency, and a focus on employees' well-being. Creating a work environment where employees feel valued, supported, and empowered to contribute to your organization's goals. You know, a positive culture promotes employee engagement and motivation, which will undoubtedly lead to increased productivity, creativity, and innovation. And quite frankly, linked directly to culture is one's attitude. And this may sound a little bit trite, but the best quote that I can offer that illustrates this in a way that really is tangible is one I share with a lot of folks. And it's by a book by Viktor Frankl called A Man's Search for Meaning. How many in the audience have read A Man's Search for Meaning? Okay, pretty small number. You'll have heard this quote before, I bet. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Now, Viktor Frankl, for those that have read the book will know, is a Holocaust survivor, understood completely the importance of maintaining a positive attitude in the face of unimaginable adversity. Our attitude determines how we interpret and respond to events and can greatly influence our emotional well-being and our ability to overcome challenges. Now, by choosing a positive attitude, we can transform difficult situations into opportunities for growth and learning. And this is a powerful reminder of the resiliency of the human spirit and the importance of cultivating a positive attitude in every aspect of our lives. This is culture, okay? Third C that we sail upon is character. You cannot have a healthy culture and a competent workforce or a competent team without the bedrock of character. Character is about building trust in relationships and fostering a positive reputation throughout the industry you're in. Character is the key to success because it enables individuals to make decisions with integrity, keeping their word, and doing what is right, even when it's painful. To respond forcefully and immediately to the demands of our obligations, remaining accountable for our actions, and building immutable bonds with customers, partners, and employees. This is character. It is clear now more than ever the security of our nation and our partners and allies requires that the Navy continue to operate forward, but we need home facilities that are ready to support. And specifically in my area of responsibility, Columbia is this top priority program. Columbia is expected to arrive in Kings Bay in 2027. It is the future of our SSBN force. In its design, it removes mid-life nuclear refueling requirement. It possesses advanced capabilities in stealth, simplification. It has simplified systems, great operator interface. It's leveraged many of the Virginia-class lessons. It is our future, and it is coming soon. And my tagline for you is, our mission, your story, one team. sail with us. And in conclusion, we are willing, ready to fight and win wars. We need you to deliver facilities, engage with us on time, delivery, so that we can execute our mission. And we are willing to take a chance on young Americans and turn them into sailors, and we would be looking for you to take that chance on us. And I want to make sure that we have the opportunity to train and retain a workforce capable of completing this journey together. Do I have any Ted Lasso fans in the house? All right, more people raise their hand. So a pop, he really is a pop culture modern day Yogi Berra, right? And he says, I think things come into our lives to help us get from one place to a better one. He's absolutely right. And we are paying attention on how to make it better. The irony is that it might be right in front of us and we don't even recognize it. Thanks for your attention this afternoon. I'm ready to take a few questions.
So real quick, while the slides are being put up, first I want to thank the Admiral for his keynote remarks. Obviously, from NAVFAC's Southeast perspective, we wanted to take advantage of that opportunity and kind of words he put out on the nuclear mission and the priority that has with the Navy, specifically the Columbia program, to highlight how that impacts our execution and the priority for the work we have coming up over the next couple of years in support of that effort and the Navy's priority. So first off, good afternoon, and again, welcome. As was put out this morning, definitely a great turnout, and from what I've been seeing around this morning, it looks like a very value-added and a great event. My name is Commander Mike McCain. I'm the operations officer here at NAVFAC Southeast, and then the business lines kind of introduce what they do or how they what they contribute to the organization this morning. The operations department, and it's similar to design and construction, we will be reorging as well, soon to be called a product support division. We serve as the interface for supported commands and our field offices, and we provide delivery, oversight, and integration for all NAVFAC Southeast products and functions. So earlier, Admiral Buchanan highlighted the Navy nuclear deterrence mission. I'm going to take advantage of those for just a few minutes and just a couple of slides to highlight some of the upcoming workload we have for that program. It'll just be a snapshot for where we see infrastructure supporting those nuclear platforms, which for the next several years is going to be the priority for NAVFAC Southeast. This morning, I know several of you have talked to me. Feedback I received is that workload projections is a discussion and a topic very important to you. I definitely intend to take that back, not just from the nuclear mission standpoint, which we'll talk over these couple slides, but more in general. So, after these slides are done, if anyone wants to come talk to me, we happily take your input on what you would like to see at the industry days, what level of detail, what timelines that obviously we realize that's important to you. Make sure we're providing that information at these industry days. As EXO mentioned just prior to the Admiral's speech and showing the website, yesterday we did just update the overall workload projection list. And as was also mentioned, the intent is we will continue to, or our goal is to keep that updated monthly, at a minimum quarterly. So I do have a hard copy up here. It's 14 pages long. So doing a general workload projection brief definitely would take a long time. But that information is there. We also have several folks from the operations department, from contracting, from design and construction that have knowledge of the work that I'll talk about here briefly, as well as all the other work if you have specific questions on requirements that are coming up. Next slide. All right, so this morning We didn't really do an overall NAVFAC Southeast command brief, but just in general, NAVFAC Facilities Engineering Command, Systems Command plans, designs, and manages construction for the Navy. Specifically, NAVFAC Southeast, headquartered here in Jacksonville, Florida, manages operations on installations from Charleston, South Carolina, to Corpus Christi, Texas, south to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. And our professionals acquire and dispose of real estate, manage and maintain facilities on all naval bases, provide housing for military families, and our public works departments provide facility supports at each of these installations. So it's maybe, well, not too hard to read up there, but you can see that summarizes what our AOR is. Well, the nuclear mission is right now NAVFAC Southeast priority. Recognized we do have missions at over 21 different locations across public works departments, ROICs, and then a single FIAD at Marine Corps Logistics Base, Albany, Georgia. Top left box there also highlights a summary of all the infrastructure that we are currently responsible for and that you support with contracts. Next slide. All right, focus of this brief is 3 specific installations that directly support the nuclear mission. So zooming in, we have ROIC Charleston, services the Navy's nuclear power training unit and propulsion facilities. Their mission is training sailors in nuclear operations to fast attack and ballistic missile submarines. To the south, Kings Bay, Georgia, serves as the East Coast Trident Ballistic Missile Submarine Headquarters. And then lastly, Naval Ordnance Test Unit, Cape Canaveral, Florida, which is a Strategic Systems Program Command, provides life cycle support for the Navy's ballistic missiles and other associated weapon systems. Real quick, looking at the 3 boxes up there, it's not just, you'll see it's not just a dollar value summarizing the volume of work. While NIP2 in Charleston has a single very large project in the hundreds of millions of dollars, you'll notice that Kings Bay alone has 90, as of right now, 90 separate requirements. So there is also a quantity associated with that workload. And then Cape Canaveral, Florida, for NO2, currently tracking a little over 20 projects, but as recently as week before last, we sat down with one of their representatives, and we expect that workload is going to grow based off of a draft list that they've provided. So the workloads are expected to change here over the next couple of years. Next slide. All right, this is a slide probably most people here want to care about. See the camera's coming out. So these 2 tables represent current known or projected workload as we know it right now, out through 2029. Not all the work is programmed at this time, but projections will become more accurate and will be publicized as we know more, and we'll utilize the workload projection slides that we have on the website to continue to get that information disseminated. While briefs of this type typically focus on the large, high dollar value projects, we intentionally categorize the work as small, medium, and large to make sure and distinguish that there's going to be a considerable amount of work spread across both MILCON and facility sustainment, restoration, and modernization programs. So there's going to be opportunities for organizations of all sizes. So not just focused on large business. There's plenty of opportunities here coming up for small business as well. Starting with Kings Bay and Charleston, the annual workload is projected to be in the several $100 million range through 2028, with a spike in 2025 of upwards of $1 billion. Total through 2029, as we know it right now, is almost $2.5 billion. At NO2 Cape Canaveral, steady state workload fluctuates in the double digits, millions of dollars. Total through 2029 at this time is almost $570 million. So a significant workload across those 3 installations alone, presenting opportunities for work. As I mentioned, while these slides are focusing on the workload at the installations supporting the nuclear mission, again, we still have a tremendous amount of work in the rest of the AOR, and after this, we'll be happy to discuss those projects as well. The final few slides are some of the upcoming MILCOM projects of interest, specifically priority we've been given by Navy, but also timeliness when we expect to make award. And then after that, the intent is to break. We'll have plenty of time to talk about some of the work offline, and then prepare for some afternoon discussion sessions. All right, next slide. So first up, P684, the Trident refit facility for the Columbia Ballistic Missile Submarine. Per the bumper sticker on the bottom, this project is planned for execution via early contractor involvement. An RFP release is scheduled for next month with an award later this year. This is an AE design bid build project planned for standalone construction award. This project is located at Kings Bay, includes construction within both the waterfront restricted area, which has challenges in of itself, as well as the refit industrial area. Scope includes specifically in the waterfront restricted area, a new paint and sandblast facility, an electrical shop, expansion of existing building 5085 for storage and hose work, expansion of both buildings 5145 and 5146 for office and shop spaces respectively, as well as electrical upgrades to building 5092. In the refit industrial area, this project will expand existing optical lab and server room, constructs new machinery lab and battery storage facility, upgrades shore facilities at 6 submarine berths, and demolishes multiple permanent and temporary facilities. Next slide. Next we have P103, the engineering test facility at No2 Cape Canaveral. Scope for this project is to construct a 211,000 square foot laboratory and testing facility in support of the Trident D5 Life Extension 2 program. The project is currently scheduled for FY25 construction award. More information on design and execution strategies will be coming soon, not available at this time. Next slide. P200 at Charleston, South Carolina is the NIP2 simulator training facility expansion, currently scheduled for an FY26 construction award. Scope for this project includes construction of a multi-story facility to include training, simulation technology, simulator maintenance, training staff areas, staff and student support areas, and storage. Design agent, acquisition tool, and execution strategy aren't available at this time, but we'll make sure to publish those as soon as they are available. And lastly, we have P658, also in Kings Bay, the upcoming nuclear regional maintenance facility. Solicitation for this project has already been issued, and we're looking to make award later this fiscal year. Project was AE designed and will be awarded as a standalone construction contract. In addition to the two-story facility itself, the project will construct employee parking facility for approximately 300 vehicles and supporting infrastructure. As we summarized earlier on just the work, the nuclear deterrence workload summary by dollar value, this is just a sample of that workload. couple MilCons. There's additional MilCons coming, as well as a significant amount of FSRM work. So please be on the lookout on the NAVFAC website as those are publicized. And we will continue to do this. Like I said, goal is monthly, at a minimum quarterly. In addition, and for the remainder of the day, please feel again to engage with the ops, the design and construction, and the contracting personnel that are here that are directly working on these and the other projects. If you have particular questions, interest, or want more details, many of our folks will be able to provide that information to you. So this concludes the session here in the ballroom. Per the schedule, the remaining time will be used for additional networking and then preparation for the final discussion sessions later this afternoon. Thank you for your time and attendance, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have after this.